Okay, so hi, good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you to the webinar on migration to the cloud, enabling flexibility and saving. This webinar is organized by Exhibitions India Group and presented by Convergence India Expo. We are glad to have Google Cloud and Atomy as our webinar partner, and we thank them for their support. We have with us a very experienced speakers to share their thoughts and insight on this important topic. And we have Mr. Sudarshan. He is market development leader for Japan, Asia Pacific continent from Google Cloud. And we have Mr. Remy, Chief Strategy Officer from Atomy. So now this session would be for 45 minutes and attendees are requested to send their questions through chat box or question and answer box. We will take the questions towards the end of the webinar. So over to you, Remy, for the presentation. I'm here and I will pass on the questions to you. Okay, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arti. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Sud and myself, to this 45-minute session. Sud and myself have prepared a few slides to go over the challenges of migrating your operation to the cloud. These 45 minutes will be divided actually in 4 parts. I will make the introduction of ATEM and the problem statement, why the broadcast industry should embrace the cloud. Then we move to Sud part, explaining how Google Cloud can help into the digital transformation. We will finish with some of use cases, how we can mix the best of ATEM and the best of Google on the cloud. And the last part will be about Q&A. So please feel free to use the chat for that purpose. We should be able to share the screen in a few seconds. Arti, can you enable it?
Yes, in a moment.
Thank you.
So you will be able to share your screen now, Remy.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Remy, it's visible.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's start. First introduction on ATEM, because I'm not sure that everyone is familiar with the company. Our mission statement is to help billions of viewers enjoy a new experience of content, television, and media on any screen. For that purpose, we provide software solution running on premises or in the cloud to help content providers and service providers, so broadcasters and pay TV operators, to deliver live and on-demand content services, media services on any screen. What you are seeing on the screen right now is the way we explain the company. We are a publicly traded company in Paris Euronext. Usually, a public company is known for the financial KPI, the result, what you can see here. But actually, there is a story behind, and there is a continuous story. This is what the virtuous circle that you are seeing on the screen. You could imagine entering in any point in this virtuous circle, but actually, the DNA of the company, the reason why we are gaining market share against an H brand or an M brand or an A brand, it's because of technology and innovation. For the past decade, ATEM has been positioning itself as a cutting-edge technology and solution leader. We can explain the growth of the company because we have been engineering, executing, delivering continuously over the past decade, innovation in terms of picture quality, bandwidth efficiency, optimized power consumption, and optimizing power consumption per pixel, and also reinventing the infrastructure of the video operation, moving from hardware to software, moving from software to the cloud, moving from cloud to cloud native operation. And we continue this race for innovation by thinking about machine learning, thinking about the new codec, thinking about how we can mix big data, analytics, and video compression. All of this journey to innovation, this continuous journey to innovation, leads tier one references, so content providers and service providers, either with the highest audience or the highest number of subscribers, to standardize on ATEM. They use our solution for contribution from the field, primary distribution between a content provider and an affiliate, or distribution to the end user, D2C, over a managed network, cable, satellite, terrestrial, IPTV, or over the internet, over the top. All of these customers that you are seeing, which is only a subset of our 400 customers that we signed in 2019, are using our solutions into various flavors. We provide a toolbox, a Lego for adults, and then based on our customers' experience, expectation, we manage to assemble the right solution to match their expectation in terms of service to render, in terms also of constraint. These customers have now a bigger ambition. When we look at the market today, and I'm sure that you can testify, we can witness an high level of complexity. Things are moving fast. And based on our customers' obsession, we are not here just to provide a product at a given time. We are more here to accompany our customers all along their digital television transformation. Our customers have a vision on where they will be in 5 years. And they need to find a partner more than just a provider to help them go into that journey. And we position as a partner and not only a provider. This is why the other part of the innovation that we are bringing is also to build multi-year contract engagement with our customers so that we can help them not only on a single video project, but on multiple projects. And thanks to our continuous innovation and roadmap, we can go quarter over quarter, year over years, transform their video operation. This combination of technology and business partnership leads to steadily growth. We have been growing steadily and healthily, if I may say, over the past decade. Healthily means that we are growing not at the expense of profitability. We can maintain the cost structure, the organization as lean as possible, not only to answer fast to the market demand, but also to continue growing in a positive way. The ability also to build partnership with our customers provides now predictability. We have now increased our monthly recurring revenue forecast so that we can not only provide and deliver growth over a year, but also forecast this growth over the coming years. A mix between perpetual license and SaaS model. Last but not least, this profitability and predictability leads to investment. We have been growing, we earn money, we are cash positive, we have cash in bank, and we are reinvesting that money to continue our virtuous circle. Continue this circle into adding people. We are adding roughly 50 people a year, mainly in R&D to continue the innovation, or on the field so that we can accompany our customers. And also nowadays, we are looking to expand externally. To date, the growth of the company has been organically. we are in good shape, we are in good health, we are gaining market share. So now we want to accelerate this growth, and we want to tell to the market we are here to stay. This is why now we are looking forward to performing on our side an acquisition and accelerating our growth. Our solution that you are seeing here is called Titan. It's not a product. You have to consider it more as a software modular suite, a software suite of modules from acquisition to OTT delivery. So all what I called the video data plane. And on top of that, you have the control plane, the management system to orchestrate all of the building blocks. Depending on the customer's expectation, use case, constraints, we assemble more or less of these building blocks. We manage all of these new building, and depending on customers' infrastructure, we run it on premises or off premises, be it a private cloud or a public cloud like GCP. Bottom line, we do not provide a fixed border. We are here to help. We provide a solution that can enable our customers transform their video operation. You used to have two boxes, box A and box B. We can combine these into a single software solution, a converging solution, enhancing the quality of experience and streamlining your operation. Now, if we move more to a market status, we are all experiencing challenging but interesting time. Before the outbreak, we were seeing some trend coming. Cloud, on demand, let's say, as a service offer, pay as you grow, more flexibility, more scalability. So these trends were already occurring before the COVID outbreak. Now that the outbreak is there, all these trends must be accelerated. And we see in India, but also worldwide, a general requirement from our customers to provide more flexibility, scalability. On the technology side, meaning I need to operate, I being a customer, I need to operate from a different location. I need to have a solid and on-demand disaster recovery, because maybe I was fine during this outbreak, but I need to be prepared for the next outbreak. I need to find a more growth-friendly business model or engagement. I need more flexibility and scalability. That's the big message that we have been receiving from our customer worldwide. And that's one of the reasons where we see the partnership with Google as very valuable. That will be for me a nice segue to give the presentation to Sud, and Sud will explain to you why running a solution, and especially an ATEM solution on the Google Cloud, could address some of these challenges and provide you with a solution. Sud, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Remy. If you would be able to pull up my presentation. Hey, thanks everyone for joining in for this particular session. As you can see, I have a colorful background behind me. I'm just trying to make sure that the post-lunch session is something that still keeps people vibrant and so on, with all the backgrounds that we are able to manage. And that also brings us back to the realities of the current environment in which we live. We'll speak a little bit more about that as we go on. I am Sudarshan. I am a part of Google Cloud APAC. I lead business development and market development for Google Cloud, media and entertainment across JPAC. Next slide, please, Remy. Remy, next slide, please. So most of you would be well aware of Google with respect to the D2C propositions that we have got. Google Cloud is an enterprise arm of Google. We are a public cloud provider. We are within the top 3 in the globe as it is. And we have a niche for ourselves. The motto or mission statement for Google Cloud is to be able to provide the ability to transform through data-powered innovation with industry-specific infrastructure, platforms, and solutions for all our partners and customers. While I say that, we have a lot of focus on the media and entertainment segment or industry as a whole. The way we see media and entertainment landscape as it is represented in this slide. We basically bucket media companies in 4 major segments. You could have entertainment studios who are content producers looking to control their destiny, build your own content and connect directly to consumers at some point of time. That's one bucket. The second bucket is media broadcasters. These are people who would have been more traditional so far. Companies who are in the broadcasting business, but they are starting to look at more and more effective ways of packaging their channel content, TV content, and so on. And obviously, there is now the added dimension of D2C services, which goes out in the market, which is a major area of focus for most broadcasters as it is. The third bucket would be sports leagues. We are increasingly seeing the trend where sports leagues are starting to claw back their rights for the premium sports content and trying to go direct to audience so that they create an engagement channel. They have their own in-house analytics and try to create more of a niche for themselves direct to audience. And the fourth category out there is primary MVPDs, which needs no explanation as it is. These are the 4 broad buckets. And within media broadcasters or anybody who's in the distribution business, we generally look at the entire workflow chain, starting from contributions where stream sources originate wherever they originate. They hit a broadcast center. It could be on-prem or it could be on a cloud. How do you best transport the streams up to that point? How do you create channel playouts from there? How do you encode streams? And how do you push it out? People are innovating with various ways of distribution of streams. It has hitherto been on the satellite path, but with cost becoming a major issue and people trying to claw back on that or rationalize their operations, we are increasingly seeing a lot more distribution of traditional media over cloud or IP as well. So we would expand on this as we go along. Remy, next slide, please. Remy, next slide, please. Thanks. So here's the need for transformation. Hey, you've gone too far. You need to go back to the previous need for transformation. That's right. So I'm sorry, folks. There had been a technical issue with this conference session, and I'm not able to present my own slides. So there could be a little bit of sync issue. Please bear with me on that. So Google has been interviewing lots of C-suite customers and partners over the years. And the way we see priorities aligned today, if we look at the C-suite priorities, even on the broadcasting side or traditional side, DTC or direct-to-consumer services are driving the thought process with respect to C-suite thinking in various companies. OTT is growing, driving the growth across markets, across sports segment as well as the standard M&E segments. And we see that while the pay TV revenues are starting to plateau, the OTT revenues will keep growing significantly all the way up to 2023-24. So this is, putting the industry in a specific position where there is a definite need for transformation. And to the extent that we talk to our customers, they are looking at this in 2 different phases. There is an immediate need to look for efficiencies in terms of operations. C-suite is looking to reduce overheads on traditional distribution and traditional broadcast where revenues are coming down, and at the same time being able to package content into direct-to-consumer subscriber acquisition efforts on the OTT side and so on. So there is a twin focus that people are having to drive today while being efficient on costs. And beyond a certain point, which we believe would be the next year or 2, we would start seeing a data plane unification between traditional broadcast as well as online media that is out there. So we will eventually get to a point where the lines between content production, channel packaging, distribution would start getting blurred, and we'll get to a point where we say, there is a script to viewer process in play. Now, what are the challenges that this results in for the industry? Where do we need to transform? there is a definite need to see that CTOs or technology organizations have a unified view of the technology perspective, because you're dealing with traditional on one side and online media on the other side. Alongside that, there is also a need to link, there are major enterprises out here who are in the media play. There is a need to link the power of enterprise with consumer focus when you try to acquire consumers, retain consumers, engage them better, and upsell services into them. And then there is a need for, blurring the lines between how a chief digital officer thinks and a CTO thinks and a CTO thinks. All of these points of view will have to come together more and more in any company for it to be successful in this evolving landscape. And the way forward to achieving all of this would obviously be to partner with a public cloud. It allows organizations to avail democratization of technology. So skills and skill sets will not be the most impeding issue for anybody to move forward. There's a lot of democratization of technology that happens on a public cloud, which could be readily used by broadcasters as well as media companies to create their own services. You could create an ecosystem which would foster better innovation, better collaboration between the various entities. Like I say, all the way from content production to contributions to distribution, everybody could collaborate better to have the unified view. And in terms of launching services and rationally scaling those, people should have elasticity of services to grow services based on demand, and being able to build a model where you earn as you go based on the traction that you get for businesses, being able to adapt to demands in the market, spin up new services and keep up with your subscribers or consumers, be it on traditional or on the digital media side. Next slide, please, Remy. Hey, Remy, next slide, please. Yeah, this one. Let's stay here. So while we speak about all that, there is also the reality of the COVID-19 induced situation that we all live in today. This is impacting the industry in many ways. Here, this slide and the next slide actually throws a high-level spotlight into what is happening with the market. Various media companies are trying to deal with the situation in different ways. If you look at major players like Disney Plus and Hotstar and so on, they have worked on geo expansion. There have been launches happening at lower price points for D2C services for consumers across geographies. There is also the other aspect where major services like Netflix or YouTube, Prime Video, and so on, they are trying to keep up with the increasing demand for services with bandwidth being limited. Everybody is sitting home and watching content. How do you manage the limited bandwidth that's available to everybody? So people are trying to innovate in terms of lowering the streaming bit rates, doing new ladders in terms of streaming bit rates and so on, free up bandwidth, save costs, while also being able to deliver decent pixel quality to customers. Coming to the distribution side, people on the production side are now looking at more and more innovative ways of doing digital only or digital first production and distribution straightaways. And the last part, which is about content access, people are dabbling with various ways of slicing and dicing content in terms of content windowing strategies, providing additional content under a free tier to create more traction and engagement, more work on the user interface tiers, and also how to handle your paywall the way it was before COVID, and how do you handle with that as of today. That's the first point of focus. Next slide, please, Remy. While you dissect all of that or filter or distill all of that down, you would come up with these few key trends. There are trends around consumer behavior, content evolution, and business models themselves. On the consumer behavior, needless to say, most people have been in lockdowns. Many countries have been in lockdowns, and people are sitting home, consuming more and more on mobile, Asia being a mobile-first market. There is more consumption happening, but at the same time, brands are not advertising as much as they used to. So this is resulting in a clear depression in ad revenues that services are making as it is. Now, social isolation is leading people to consume more and more content. Now, bear in mind that there is not much production happening. People have not been able to work, so they can't go to studios and produce content like they used to. This results for an increasing demand for content that is readily available today. But that also puts streaming services in a spot where you would have to make your content readily discoverable, more discoverable in an intuitive fashion, and people are able to land content that you have in your archives and be able to engage with that. That's on the consumer behavior side. On the content evolution side, like I said, production has come to an almost standstill for a while now, and now things are picking up, but the past 2 or 3 months have seen that kind of trend. So people are looking at more innovative ways of using archives and coming up with new forms of content. People have been sitting on 20,000-30,000 hours of content libraries. Can you make new form of content available with that? And we are also seeing the industry spawning new genre of content. For example, esports is starting to become more and more of a mainstay as opposed to just a growth phenomenon. Traditional sports folks are moving into the esports domain to start creating more traction while sports leagues are absent from the calendars. There is more and more live streaming happening now, direct to consumer, and short form videos are catching up as well. In all of this, while subscriptions on D2C, SVOD, and so on is increasing, linear TV subscriptions are increasing as well. Ad revenues have been declining. We have spoken about that. TVOD is starting to see a much better uptick because people have limited options and they want to consume more content while sitting at home. What we do believe from all of this is services which are hyper-regional and who cannot transform very quickly or scale out very quickly in terms of expansion, in terms of new strategies to engage audience and so on, they are going to be impacted by a lot, by a bigger margin. So it is time for people to sit up and try to innovate so that they stay on pace. Next slide, please. So where would you start this kind of a transformational journey? Let's say you have been a typical traditional player or somebody who's had on-prem workloads and a few other things, your applications on on-prem servers versus elsewhere. So people will have to think through how to adopt cloud in order to make use of democratized technology for scaling as well as differentiated experience. You could be somebody who has new workloads or new applications which could be built in a cloud native fashion. You can straight away go and use it on the cloud. Or you could be a traditional player who's done a lot of your applications on-prem, but you come to a time where you're going to scale your services using the power of cloud and hyperscale reach being provided by cloud. So you need to, it may not be a revolution, it may be an evolution. Your existent services, wherever they work from, need to continue to work, and your evolution could happen on cloud. And these two services, or the way they interact, should be seamless. And the third area is a complete digital transformation in terms of being able to understand your audience experiences, the audience journey, being able to differentiate the path or the journey for them so that they like the service, they engage with the service more and more, and grow with that. Right. So Google Cloud provides an ideal platform for that, be it a customer who's looking at new workloads, or a customer who's trying to expand existing services into new territories, or trying to transform digitally. I would walk you through some of the digital building blocks for such a digital transformation service on which we would have ISV partners providing workflows. Next slide, please. So the typical building blocks that would be expected in an M&E workflow would be having best-in-class security being available, because content is at a premium. Everybody's spending dollars on producing content and acquiring content, and you obviously want to make sure that content is well protected and it's lying somewhere where it's safe and it's protected at transit as well, not only at rest. The next question is, how do I manage applications between on-prem and a new cloud versus, the other option, which is where you say, I have one cloud in use today, but I would like to use differentiated services from another cloud provider. How do I mix and match my services and deployments between on-prem and multi-cloud environment? Can I do that? The third thing is, not having to do a lot of infrastructure work. Can I have fully managed services, cloud-based services available to me, where I just deploy my services and automatically scale, be it just scaling of services or scaling of data analytics, user engagement, and so on? Can I do that? And the fourth question is differentiation of services using AI and ML mechanisms today. And the fifth one, which we bring as a unique player out there in the market, apart from all the other four too, is being able to bring the best of Google as it is, the various other properties that we have in the market, and the power of those being combined with what we provide as a cloud-based proposition. I'll just take a slightly deeper dive into each of these. Remy, next slide, please. Best-in-class security for media workloads. So we are talking about Google Cloud being one of the largest privately managed networks. We provide encryption at rest by default for all content that lies on Google Cloud. Google Cloud for media agencies, adheres to MPAA recommendations, and we have quarterly audits going on our cloud. And we are sort of, acknowledged by the top 6 studios in the world for security of content that lies on cloud. So basically what I'm saying is content is secure, encrypted at rest. We are the only cloud that encrypts content at rest. And we also have a lot of privately managed fiber backbones between all our compute centers or regions as it is, which means content from our partners seldom touches the public internet, and it is secure in transit as well. And there are encryption and other security mechanisms while the content is in transit. And the last part is, when there are businesses which are very sensitive to, user data and managing user data privacy, and so on, we have mechanisms by which we can help you classify, look at content that you have available to be able to redact sensitive pieces of information, move the rest into cloud, and being able to operate on that as well. Next slide, please, Remy. Yeah. Hybrid and multi-cloud solutions. I spoke about this very briefly earlier on. So this is a concept where you're able to extend your on-premise environment on cloud so that you have on-demand compute instances available. You're able to create your own virtual private cloud network, which is fault tolerant. You have disaster recovery between zones that's available to you by default too. And any kind of workload, be it transcoding, rendering, visual effects, animation, and so on, could all go into this burst mode where you go on and consume more and more cloud on demand. The second aspect is about being able to connect legacy applications across clouds or from on-prem to a cloud. Google Cloud launched a platform called Anthos Management Platform. It's Kubernetes based. And this platform actually allows our customers and partners to use hybrid deployments. It's a single window deployment for your applications, be it on your on-premise on-premise infrastructure versus a cloud-based infrastructure, or you could be using a cloud A or B and want to spill over to Google Cloud too and use all of them in tandem. We do not make any distinction. We are completely agnostic. We allow you a single window deployment to connect to all of these environments, click to deploy and manage your services, and have a control plane on all of those experiences. And finally, when it comes to avoiding vendor lock-in and being an open source certifier as well, Google Cloud is the #1 contributor to Cloud Native Computing Foundation. We are the creator of Kubernetes environment, which has been open sourced by us. We had also open sourced TensorFlow ecosystem, which is an ecosystem behind all the major machine learning models in vogue today. What I'm trying to say here is basically we believe in having an open environment for our partners and customers, and we just continue to foster that environment as it is. Next slide, please, Remy. The third piece, which we spoke about, is having a managed infrastructure in which you don't have to bother with, management of infrastructure on your side, spinning up, spinning down compute power, and so on. All of these are automatically managed in the case of Google. So in terms of, just looking at audience stats, being able to engage with your users, being able to analyze their behavior better, and so on, we have one of the best data warehousing and analytics mechanism in the world called BigQuery. It's a managed service that automatically scales to as much compute as is needed. You could stream as much data as needed and get near real-time statistics on viewing experience, across the board holistic engagement experience, all the way from your content supply chain to user engagement, their payment patterns, their ad consumption rates, and so on. And with that, take very holistic decisions on how to further your business as a whole. That's what we call data-driven innovation or data-driven transformation of business. In terms of deployment service itself, we talk about auto scaling globally, where our Kubernetes-based environment allows our customers to be able to deploy and scale services automatically. And the way we allow for elasticity for our customers is beyond par in the world of cloud. Customers have automated multi-region failover available to them for compute intensive jobs. And we generally provide, we sort of decouple the compute and the memory. So there are ways in which customers could have memory-intensive jobs performed on memory-intensive environments, compute-intensive jobs or high-power compute performed on high-power compute environments. And we also move the bar in terms of cost rationalization and reduction by saying that we don't generally have to have an interlock between compute and memory, saying a 16-core machine comes with 16 GB of memory and a 32-core machine comes with 32 GBs of memory and so on. That's not how it works with Google Cloud. You can just pick and choose, customize the compute and memory that's needed and apply it to your jobs, by which way customers of ours actually end up saving more than 30 to 40% on a yearly basis compared to whatever environment they might have been operating on in the past. We also did a lot more innovations in terms of pricing parameters across the globe. Google Cloud is the only cloud today in the world which provides sustained use discounts. Our customers and partners do not even have to commit to usage of infrastructure on Google. Once they get to a point where they've used X amounts of compute in a given month, Google Cloud automatically starts applying discounts to whatever compute, whatever infrastructure elements that they are using as it is. That's a pricing innovation that's come through from our side, and we are still unique in that aspect, apart from committed use discounts. And finally, I'll just say that the average savings that many of our customers make is to the tune of 35% compared to their existing infrastructures as well as existing cloud mechanisms as it is. Next slide, please, Remy. And differentiation. So there are lots of AI and ML based capabilities that we bring to the market. We see that the media industry is fully invested in terms of being able to use video intelligence capabilities so that you have better metadata tagging, automated metadata tagging and enrichment of your content, by which content discoverability is improved. That's one of the things that we spoke about even in the COVID-induced environment, where a lot of our partners are working on those kind of projects with us. Also, for regional services, playouts generally happen across 6 to 10 different territories. There is always the need for more and more automation against caption production, transcription, subtitling, and so on, so that with content being produced in one central place, you are able to distribute in as many places as you can. And with all of this, can you move the bar to drive better recommendations so that audience engagement is improved, and also bring back cues for marketing and audience analytics and take predictive measures for furthering the business. All of these are inbuilt into our products today. Next slide, please, Remy. So one of the last things that I would like to speak about in terms of technology itself is we bring the best of Google to media. So all the latest innovations, like our investments into YouTube, into AR, VR, assistant technology, ads, and various other technologies are brought together in one unified form by cloud and presented to our customers. We also help our customers, build new audience experiences which are consumer-led. And finally, for your own organization, there is the need for creating better productivity and collaboration across the various, work divisions or departments that we spoke of, so that you have a unified view of transformation. So we expose tools that Google itself uses for our own product specs, how we drive product specs, how we go all the way from ideation to product launches, beta testing, and so on. All those kind of tools and collaboration tools are also opened up to our partners as it is. I'll just walk us through 2 or 3 very quick customer use cases so that we get a sense of what we are talking about. Remy, next slide, please. I'll try to rush through this segment. The first one, it's a production use case, Sony Pictures ImageWorks. They do a lot of their burst production on Google Cloud. We spoke about security compliance that Google Cloud has, and that's why I wanted to show this example as it is. They, using Google Cloud for driving down cost and operational efficiencies for all their burst workloads, they have achieved 30% savings on their rendering costs compared to other cloud providers, using the various pricing mechanisms and on-the-spot VM instances that we provide our customers. They have also been able to increase the rendering performance by a factor of 2, which allows the studio to take on more work and produce more output. And finally, efficiently scaling production by moving to a virtual studio environment on cloud. That's one example. We have got many more examples for those who are interested. Next one, please, Remy. In terms of distribution, let's take the example of Fubo TV. This is an American major, and they were one of the first sports streaming platforms who have been doing 100 plus national live channels and 560 plus local channels, and there is tons of VOD content that they do as well. They built this entire environment natively on cloud under 2 years. This is something that Ateme and Google Cloud do together for Fubo TV. Most of their live channels run on this environment together, and they ensure best viewing experiences by scaling for peak traffic with Google Cloud's open source flexibility. And finally, we also see that they achieve 100% year-on-year subscriber growth with this native approach to how you get connected to your audience, how you derive insights from that, and how do you provision for scale, elastic demand, and how do you recommend content into audience, how do you engage them better. We see tremendous growth happening here on Fubo TV. That's a great example for anyone who wants to, start a service from scratch. Next one, please, Remy. I'll give two broadcaster examples. The first one being ITV. ITV, in the summer of 2018, they had reality TV shows where they had tremendous traction happening. Apart from that, there was also a point of time when England was progressing in the World Cup of football, and that resulted in tremendous amount of viewership as well. They got to a point where, if you have issues in terms of production for ITV Hub, issues in terms of delivery and so on, it would take them 10 minutes or more for the issues to be flagged and for them to respond to that in the first place. So you're having, many 10 millions of concurrents on the platform at any given point of time. So at that point, they decided to move into Google Cloud and use our scalable analytics mechanisms, the data warehousing mechanism that I spoke about. So we give them the capability to ingest tons of data from different sources, transform all of those, run it into a warehouse, query that, get insights from that, be it audience insights as well as diagnostics, operational insights, and now they return insights within 2 minutes, and they are able to take corrective actions then and there. The platform scales real time for them in terms of many millions of viewers be concurrent at the same time. They built what would be called a custom viewer analytics solution in cloud under 3 months. This would typically take other broadcasters a year or so on a typical on-prem kind of environment and so on. So it's a major use case on which you can find a lot of information in the public domain too. I'll just move to the next one now, Remy. CBS Interactive. So they enhance content discovery for millions of users per day. We spoke about ITV, which was more about diagnostics and so on. Here, we are talking about making your content more searchable, more discoverable. When you have millions of users using the content, how do you figure out what kind of content the user wants to engage with? How do you give them a very intuitive mechanism for searching for content? Will it not be different if you have an intuitive Google search kind of mechanism? You look for a content, buy a few things that you are interested in, and you see the episode as it is. If you said Game of Thrones, Jon Snow standing with a particular character with a sword in his hand, can you bring up the right kind of episode, as opposed to asking your viewers to figure out the program name, the episode, the title, and everything, then look for it as a best case, right? That's very difficult. Here, CBS is actually moving the bar in terms of making content discovery much more intuitive. They provide actionable business insights for marketing and ads teams by analyzing thousands of content assets on a daily basis. And they also deliver in-house AI/ML solutions by leveraging our products. This is a team of under 8 people, and they already are making a great impact in terms of their recommendation solutions and automated solutions as it is. That's the CBS use case. Again, this is available in the public domain. And the last one would be an interactive video. I would allow Remy to get into the next slide and just click on the video and play it for everyone. Hey, can you click on the link and see if it plays, Remy? Remy? I don't think the audio is playing here. Would you?
Yes, the video and the audio is playing well on my side. So maybe that's through GoToWebinar that is not working. I don't know.
No worries. I'm sorry, everyone. Like I said, tool issues, and we are not using Google collaboration tools here as an example. I'll just talk about the fact that this is an example from Foxtel. We did a major project with a partner for them. Foxtel calls this Project Monty. Basically, this is the time when they had rights for cricket in the Australian summer. And cricket, which was so far free to air in Australia, was moved into a subscriber-based service. You need to have much better engagement platform. So they wanted to differentiate the service. We created a tool framework where we would allow Foxtel to bring in a lot of data, say a year's worth data from all the matches, cricket matches that the team Australia had played. And we are talking about test matches, which is a 5-day version of cricket, longer version. You could input as many parameters about matches as you would want to and ask the system to predict one parameter or one output. The way Foxtel used this was that they brought in 83 different variables or parameters for a cricket match. It's about the day on which the match is occurring. Is it a day or night match? Which are the teams involved? Which are the bowlers and batters and so on? With 83 different variables, you ask the system to predict when there will be a wicket. Wicket is like a strike in cricket. And we actually rolled out the platform in which we were able to predict wickets 5 minutes in advance, and out of the box, the system had 87% accuracy, which is mind-boggling. They launched this as a notification hub. They used marketing campaigns along with that. And on the online property, this engagement platform would generate a call to action for users. Basically, you would say, hey, user, Monty predicts that there will be a wicket in the next 5 minutes. Please come back into the app and log on to the match if you have not done so already. So no wonder that the engagement metrics went up by 140% for the provider as it is. And there was 15% more subscriber dollars spent happening in that instance. And the spot bidding for those ad instances went through the roof for Foxtel. The results were fantastic. And they are trying to round this up as an overall engagement platform as of today. And while what I talk about looks like science fiction, we actually made it available almost in the form of something like a Google Sheet or so. You could bring all your data points into what looks like a sheet and ask us to predict one parameter from that and embed it into your systems to do whatever you would like to with that. So with this, I end my presentation as it is. I would pass it back to Remy. The next slide just talks about the various players in the market that are already making this transformation with us. Remy, you might want to move to that and then take the control back.
Sure. Thank you, Sud. We have 6 minutes to go. So I let the audience enjoying the name of the customer. That was very interesting, Sud, and actually where you see the dots being connected. Some of the customers that you are seeing here are ATEM customers. Some of them are on-prem, and actually some of them are on Google Cloud. For instance, Fubo TV is using ATEM for hundreds of channels running on a Google platform. So this is where the two company ATEM and Google Cloud joining forces make sense. Just to finish the presentation, let's go quickly over some technology use cases running on Google Cloud. So this is what an ATEM solution for live and on-demand service can look like based on a mix between on-prem data center and Google Cloud. We can help you actually contribute to the cloud. So an ATEM solution has the right bandwidth efficiency and streaming delivery capabilities to stream over the public cloud to other ATEM components that will be integrated within the Google Suite, such as the Cloud Engine and the various buckets, and as well transcode in real time or in offline, so the same solution, the same solution, and deliver to the end user. A few use cases that we can discuss. For instance, when it comes to VOD workflow, the media supply chain, we have customers who have implemented a load balance between on-premises and the cloud, so that depending on your production peak, for instance, imagine that you have a production workflow with shows coming, you have season finals, or you have a peak because of sports production. You can't afford the CapEx burden because you don't want to have a new PC or new server on premises. You can offload some of the production to the cloud. And so we have the ability to offset from on-prem to off-prem dynamically. That's applicable to manage peaks, but that's also applicable to manage on-demand disaster recovery. Bottom line, you can see the cloud as an extension of your on-premises system. The other aspect will be also to run what we discussed with Sud about hybrid cloud or multi-cloud. You may operate today a cloud, for instance, a private cloud on-premise, or you may have some of your operations running on a public cloud, but not a GCP one. There is a value actually to have a multi-cloud approach. And when we see the benefits of Google Cloud, that could be interesting to you. That could be interesting for cost reason. That will be interesting for quality of service reason. That will be also interesting for mitigating the various sources. Bottom line, you can leverage the best of an hybrid cloud approach to enhance your quality of service. And that's, for instance, what we have been deploying with several customers in Australia, in Korea, in India, in France, and in Latin America and in the US, especially with Fubo. The multi-cloud approach provides you with the best flexibility that you can imagine. And when you run a software like ATEM, the value proposition in terms of reducing the total cost of ownership, maximizing the customer reach, enhancing the quality of experience, enabling as well the content monetization, all of these value propositions are still available on this multi-cloud experience. That's time is running out. Is there any question, Arti, that Sud or myself can help?
Yes, Remy, there are few questions. So first question we have is, with the advancement in IoT and surge in data, how useful it is to pre-process the data at the edge before moving the data to the cloud? So either you or yeah.
I can possibly take that. So Arti, we are seeing a lot of movement happening in this area as well. So there is edge computing that is being provided by major public providers, including Google. When I spoke about this platform called Anthos, it is a hybrid. It supports hybrid deployments, and it also supports computing at edge, which means today we are also working with, say, the major telcos in the world, other enterprises, so that we can have use cases where compute happens on the edge, either on Google Cloud or outside of Google Cloud, and there is interaction between that and Google Cloud as it is. So these kind of use cases are coming up more and more. In the world of M&E itself, I can give you another kind of example where people are going and doing Android TV boxes. If you look at pay TV folks and telcos, a lot of them are starting to look at the Android TV hub or the box itself at home as an IoT enabler device. That's a place which you could treat as a central hub. You could have processing happening over there and then bring back data into the cloud as well. There are multiple ways in which this works, but basically cloud or Google Cloud enables computing at edge, and propositions like Android TV would also sort of support that.
Okay. So that's thank you, sir. There is another question asking that what strategy is being evolved for unreliable connection of network, fluctuating bandwidth and connection, and disconnection of access network.
Okay, there are a couple of different things going on here. So when I spoke about the network as it is, and I'd also let Remy come in here right after I'm done, so he might want to add his own viewpoint. So when we look at it as a cloud provider, which is a hyperscale provider, there is the contribution aspect. Your streams are coming in from a provider from wherever they come in. You might have dedicated network or links or channels to pick up the streams from there. If you don't have dedicated channels, today we are already working on basic unmanaged IP network mechanism where we have forward error correction mechanisms available on IP networks, so that your streams could be transported from your contribution provider to the central broadcast. These kind of technologies are available. ATEM also is an expert at that, and in general, cloud technologies enable that. On the distribution side, again, like I said, we provide one of the best backbone services for moving traffic from an origin service or wherever the content originates from to the edge. But at the edge, there is obviously an ISP peering involved. So we as Google Cloud are peered with all the major ISPs across the globe, and we provide for, smoothness of data transition or seamless data transition. And we are looking at moving the ball in the next few months where, we would be making YouTube-like advances to the way you would be able to distribute content over Google Cloud as it is. So this is where I would leave the audience with. And for further thoughts, people are free to reach out to me and I can provide details. I'd let Remy expand on this.
Yeah, actually, I think that the two questions are combined from our standpoint. We clearly see a trend to move more processing to the edge, as close as possible to the end user. The old-fashioned way, which was hardware-based, and if I may say silo-based, is no more the way to go. People are willing actually to adjust their delivery, not only in terms of content recommendation, like Sun mentioned, so this point is clear, but also the video data played, the bitrate, the quality, the analytics, the ad insertion. So everything aims to more customization, more personalization. And you may receive a different content between Mumbai and Delhi. You may receive different experience. That's what I call, by the way, the next-gen content experience. You may receive various bitrate if we go to the technology, all of that to optimize the OTT delivery from the edge. And all of that being possible because you move most of the processing from central delivery, central headend to the edge. There is a limit. You won't be able to put, at least in the coming days, a system at each doorstep, but we push the limit step by step, and there will be more decentralized processing in the coming months. And 5G, by the way, 5G will accelerate that, of course.
Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Sudarshan. I think we have overrun the time now. And yeah, so thank you for your time. I think attendees have been so patient here, and it was a very insightful session, very interesting. Sudarshan, is your presentation available for the reference? We can send it to attendees.
Sure. I'll just work on it offline and share the external format with you.
Yeah, and if you can give us the video link also.
Will do.
Because there have been sure. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks
Remy.
everyone.
Thank you, Aarti. Thank you, Sue.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
everyone.
Stay safe. Bye.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.